mean, it's in my brain somewhere. Hello strangers, I'm Ravenna, and this is a 5 book up wrap up. This is where I will be talking about 5 books that I have read this year. I messed up the last one I did this of because I forgot that I had did the Contemporary-a-thon and that I had read 2 books, I think, before the start of the Contemporary-a-thon that hadn't been part of a wrap up. I forgot to include it in the last 5 book wrap up I did. So here we are now. I haven't did one of these in a while and it's kind of overdue. It's just I haven't had a great time to film. Like, anytime I went to film I got interrupted and haven't felt like it for reasons. But I've nearly dyed my hair and this is really overdue. I think part of the reason was I wanted to dye my hair and it just kept not happening. I'm not going to have great continuity in this video because I'm filming where you can see the couches, so you might see dogs disappear in and out the background. Okay, so I have a list to make sure that I don't forget any books this time. So it has been a while since I wrapped these books up, but it's fine because it's just like vague thoughts. So firstly we have Wranglestone? I've never had to say this out loud and I don't know why. I haven't looked it up. It never occurred to me till this moment that I should have looked up how you say this. Well, here's the cover and this is by Darren Charlton. This is a queer zombie book. So what's not to love? It's dystopian in that it's post-apocalyptic and it's good. The relationship is really cute. It's YA. It's male on male. It does like question the idea of masculinity in a post-apocalyptic world. The main character isn't very traditionally masculine and like, you know, good at all these like hunting and shooting things that they want him to be. He is still very useful in apocalypse though because he's good at sewing, and like sewing is a needed skill in the apocalypse. Like, you need to be able to make your own stuff once things break down, hence why baking is so popular now and everyone's sewing stuff for themselves. I'm trying to be a like, we won't talk about it, but sometimes it's just hanging over our heads. I mean, I'm in a completely different location because of it and it's why I haven't filmed, but I won't like get into it so we know what world we're living in. Do you like my hair? I decided I was just gonna beach my roots. I decided to do an opposite ombre. This was my plan. Being a procrastinator and someone with chronic pain, it takes me forever to do anything. This is the first book in a series. It has been a while, so like I do remember it, but I'm trying to think of things that wouldn't be overly spoilery. But I did think it was really well written and I do recommend it, and I have a full written review that I wrote closer to the time of reading. The next book I finished listening to was The Husband's Secret by Liane Moriarty. So I was going through a phase of basically listening to all of Liane Moriarty's books. I think this is probably my favourite one, maybe. I kind of get why people like Liane Moriarty, but I just don't think we gel together. So I listened to all the books my library had, except maybe one, which was a lot. I don't know, sometimes I just like decide I'm gonna consume all your work even though I'm not really loving it. This is very easy to get and it's better than listening to weird random creepypasta things that I find off YouTube that ain't really worth my time. Some of them are good, a lot of them are not. I should have became a creepypasta narrator even though I have a speech impediment. But then that being said, one of the biggest creepypasta people, like, I'm not gonna name names, but you probably know who I'm talking about if you listen to them, doesn't edit his mistakes out of his videos, so it's really basic to edit audio mistakes out. Some people think it adds authenticness, but like, it doesn't really. I say someone with a speech impediment, I don't mess up the start of a sentence and like stop and say it again. In your life I kind of just keep going until I'm done, and you either understand what I said in your life and what I didn't, like, whereas in the video, if I really mess up a sentence, I say it again because I can edit this out and I don't, you know, because that's how post-production works, not reality. I think this is the one that has the autistic coded kid, which is, ew. You come across a lot of, like, weirdly coded autistic people, but they never say it, so it's just like, okay. I mean, if she'd said it, that would have been good, because it would have been a girl. I say that though, but then there was a really weird autistic girl one I read once, so people are just really ableist towards autistic people sometimes, and they don't realize it, so they say weird stuff that needs more clarification. Like, autism has a lot of abilities in it, so you have to clarify why someone needs support. That's my 2 cents on autism, yep. This wasn't really related because it was an 8-year-old who, actually maybe she was 6, like 7, but like definitely like autistic coded because she had obsessions and was very specific about her obsessions, so it was fine though. It was for the plot, but I think that was fine. I think this was the best one, but I've read this so long ago and I read so many of her books back to back. I didn't do it in any hints of reviewing any of them, I just did it for me for some reason. So I can't be more specific, really, because I read another one after her, and if I was going to review them properly, I wouldn't have did that, because I don't try and confuse myself about authors if I know I'm going to review them properly. So next I read The King of Crows by Libba Bray. This was the last book in the Diviner series. I did review this book because I got a NetGalley arc from it, but I also did purchase the audiobook, and that's how I listened to it. As everyone says, the audiobooks for this series are really good. It's one voice, but she does all the characters really well. I don't know, my only criticism with kind of this whole series is these books are very long, and I get why they're long, like it makes perfect sense, but I think because of how long they are, it's hard sometimes with pacing. There's a lot of characters going on, a lot of information to consume and keep paying in your head. It's a lot of information and a lot of characters to follow, but I get the choice. I don't know, like I don't have helpful criticism. I think it's just, it is something that affects my enjoyment of it, but I also get the choice, and like it does need a lot of time to talk about all these characters. This is a story arc that needed to be in the one book, and you shouldn't split up like that sort of story arc. Anyway, I like the ace girl who's really into silence. I relate to her a lot. I did really enjoy the books, and I do like all these characters, and you know, these are very diverse books. So this book is set in the 20s and does deal with like eugenics and racism. So it is heavy topics. It's set in like an tiny alternative universe, but could be our universe maybe. And we've all just forgot about that particular one event that happened in the 20s somehow. Well, it would be several events, but like one really big event deals with realities in a semi-fantasy setting, because they have powers. I'm being really vague because it's like the end of a series, and if you want to read the Diviner series, for some reason the German version of the first book is on Spotify now, if you understand German. I thought this was a good conclusion. I, as a whole, give the series 4 out of 5 stars. Usually I give reviews of the series as I finish them as a whole, but like I don't think I'm going to do that because it's been so long now, and my brain doesn't hold information great. I do have a good memory for books, but it's really random parts of books. I've listened, I think, to the last 2 on audiobook. I definitely read the first one. I can't remember how I read the second one. See, that's the thing when people like say audiobooks don't count. I literally can't remember sometimes the way I've read a book. So I think, like, does it really matter the way I've consumed it? I mean, it's in my brain somewhere. Next we have my friend Dahmer. Dahmer. This is like why directors are so weird, because like this is a name I've heard said so many times, and it's like, but like it's gone. I'm just gonna say it this way, even though I think it might be wrong. Oh well, he's a serial killer, so who cares? My Friend Dahmer by Derf, Backderf. So this is a memoir graphic novel talking about the author's relationship with Dahmer in high school. You probably know who Dahmer is because he is a serial killer. And he's like one of the ones that the like groupies really like for some reason. I'm into true crime, but I've never got why people really attach themselves to serial killers. Even like when I relate to serial killers, it makes me more angry at them for what they did. Cause like it's not a justification. Nothing is a justification for multiple killings, and like, you know, he did messed up stuff. Yeah, and apparently, he like a lot of signs typical to serial killers. It does talk about that stuff, the kind of messed up stuff they saw him doing, and there is a lot of ableism in this book. Like, one of his running gags was making fun of this man with cerebral palsy that his mum knew, and that was a thing he did at high school. And that was the big reason why the author of this book was friends with him, or like acquaintances. So that's a big part of this book. So just like slight trigger if that's something you struggle with. I don't know. I know triggers can be really weird because it's like I would never have expected that going into this book, but also makes sense because he's a terrible person. So of course a terrible person would do stuff like be ableist. The author talks about how any sympathy he has for Dahmer does go out the window once he did what he did. Like, he feels sorry for him as a kid, but like what he grew up to do is like justifiable. I mean, I do think it is interesting having the point of view of somebody who knows somebody before they do the horrific thing. Like, I mean, that is like a very famous crime writer who knew Dahmer, that's how you say his name. And now I can't remember the other famous US serial killer. Oh wow. It's a true crime book, so I did start watching the movie and then I thought, no, this is really similar to the comic book and I care more about the victims than the serial killer psychology is interesting, but like, I don't know if I'm really a big fan of making movies about serial killers where they're the point of view protagonist, kind of, or like we spend some even remotely time in their point of view, like properly, outside of like horror films, because like, you know, like a horror film is trying to scare you, the audience, but like if you're like a drama and we're in the point of view of the serial killer, that's just kind of humanizing them. So I don't think that's a good idea. I'm not going to get into it because like there's a lot to say about what is and what isn't appropriate about when talking about serial killers and / mass killers. There is people who have claimed to do it for the fame. I mean, I don't think anyone who's mentally right would do anything just for the fame. I don't think that can be true. Anyway, we're not going to talk about this because it's not fun. Let's talk about moving on to the next book I read. Next we have Truly Deeply Madly by Liane Moriarty. This is the only Liane Moriarty book that I do in fact own, which was kind of the justification of me reading it and just deciding, yeah, this is going to be the last one I read for now / ever, unless I get desperate. I really don't remember what happened in this compared to all the other ones. I know I did think, it's not that good. I mean, I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I gave most of Liane Moriarty's books 3 out of 5 stars. Oh, now I remember what this one is. This is the one about 2 best friends who have been friends since they were children, but they're not actually that close. This one was kind of tedious. There's like, this one's writing around this event that happens, but like obviously you don't get told what exactly goes down in this event. We get the post and the before kind of going on, and like the doing of things leading up to this event. The event wasn't that big a deal. like, it didn't, like, it was a big deal, but it wasn't what it was, like, leading to. I was, like, expecting, like, something a lot more bad to happen, like, really bad, instead of, like, I mean, I don't want to spoil it, because it's not, like, terrible, but, like, it was fine. I guess it's an interesting commentary about female friendship, but also not really. Like I said, I don't really think I should be reading more Liane Moriarty books. It's like, why do I keep reading them? I really should do these. I shouldn't have waited so long to film this video. That's how it happens. So those are 5 books that I read, and those are all my thoughts on them. I will see you weirdos next time, where I will be in the exact same location. Farewell. I don't know. I guess you can see my new hair. May as well show it off. It's gonna annoy me, that light. Next we have The King's Call by Libba Bray. So it's a moth. Nature. I'm showing all types of nature in this video.